Hey, Joe, I was on IMDb.
Yeah.
Do you know what the top rated movie based on user ratings of all time is on IMDb?
Is it Shawshank?
It is The Shawshank Redemption. And I have a question for you.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of blockbusters in the world, in world history.
True.
Okay. Everything from Shawshank Redemption to It, the hit movie It, to those awesome guns, the Dark Tower movie. With the guy in it, right?
Yeah.
That amazing hit movie. Let's see. What's another blockbuster? Oh, The Green Mile. That's a big blockbuster. Oh, Stand By Me.
Yeah.
That's a blockbuster. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what's another blockbuster.
There's a lot of blockbuster horrors like Cujo.
Cujo or Christine, John Carpenter.
Carrie.
Yeah. Do you know what all those movies have in common?
No idea.
Yeah, me neither. Hey everybody, welcome back to Not Qualified. If you couldn't tell from that stupid intro, this week we're talking about Stephen King adaptations. Stephen King is, of course, an author. He is probably the greatest horror author of all time, if you don't count like H.P. Lovecraft. Stephen King has had more influence on literature, like modern literature and horror fiction, than anybody else. He's written some great books.
Yeah.
And he has had an enormously high number of his books be adapted into movies.
Yeah.
Most authors dream of having a hit movie deal. Stephen King has had dozens and dozens, and they consistently make a lot of money.
Every year.
Every year there's a Stephen King adaptation.
Since what, The Shining?
Since The Shining came out.
Even before that, right?
Yeah, wait, when did Misery come out? That was like 82, wasn't it?
Yeah, that might have been around the same time.
Well, yeah, because, okay, hold on. Carrie definitely came out before.
Carrie, I think it was Carrie.
Carrie was, I think, what kicked it off. And then The Shining, and then Christine in 82.
And then like every couple years, at least, minimum, every like 3 years, he gets some kind of new deal.
Yeah.
New adaptation deal.
I've only read one Stephen King book, and that's Pet Sematary. That was a great book.
Yeah.
But there were two adaptations, one in the 80s and then one just a couple years ago, and they both sucked really, really badly.
They were not good.
No.
Either of them.
But the book was really good. So, that's what they called me in middle school.
Nice.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yep.
And did Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile come from the same short story collection, or was it
No.
Shawshank and Stand By Me? Or was it Stand By Me and Green Mile? Or was it none of them? Are they all from different collections?
Stand By Me, I don't remember. Stand By Me, I think Stand By Me
was from Four Seasons or whatever, right?
Stand By Me and Shawshank were both from Four Seasons.
Okay.
Green Mile is his own thing.
Okay, cool. So Shawshank Redemption is probably the most successful Stephen King adaptation. I don't know if it's the most successful money-wise.
Yeah.
But I think it probably made a bunch of money just because it's a modern horror movie. But I think that as far as overall success, Shawshank is his most successful based on one of his short stories.
Which I get. That's one of my favorite
I love
movies of all
Shawshank.
time.
What's so cool about Stephen King is that he can write great stories even if they're not within his normal genre. Like he's known as a horror author. Shawshank is not a horror story.
Yeah.
I mean, it is in the sense that it's horrifying. That the idea of being wrongfully convicted is horrifying. But it's not a horror story, and neither is Stand By Me.
Yeah,
that's just a coming of age story, and both of those are great movies.
Two of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, I love both of them, and they're not in his normal genre of horror or sci-fi. Oh, The Mist was a big one.
The Mist was really good.
I hadn't seen it. The Mist was originally supposed to be in black and white, wasn't it?
Yes, that was his original intent, was to watch it in that.
Was to make it. Yeah, but then the studio interfered.
I meant the book. The book was really good.
You read the book?
Yeah.
Oh,
the novella was really good.
Cool. What was the one that they did like an Amazon original series or Hulu, Under the Dome or something?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Was it Hulu? I don't know.
I think it was.
They also did a Hulu original series of 11/22/63, which was really good. But
Very, very good.
You actually loved it so much you read the book,
Yeah, which
the
was a
long book.
big time commitment. I got one of the mass market paperbacks, and it was like 1,100
You
pages.
tore that thing up. You read for hours a day.
It was so good. It's one of my favorite books.
Well, there you go.
Probably right under the Bible. So my favorite secular book.
Yeah,
One of my favorite. It was adapted into a miniseries. One of my favorite pieces of media, just in general. I love it.
Well, the show was really good.
Yeah.
Oh man, what do you think is that your favorite King adaptation? You think?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
It loses to Shawshank, but it is definitely second.
I think
Definitely right under.
my favorite King adaptation is definitely The Shining.
Yeah.
I haven't read The Shining. I know it's very different.
It is very different.
My dad, for example, has read the book and seen the movie, and he loves both of them. But he treats them as separate things because they're very different. You've read The Shining, right?
Yes.
And
I really, really enjoyed it.
yeah, the movie The Shining is like it's not my favorite horror movie. It's one of them.
It's one of them.
I love horror too much to just for that to be my favorite.
Yeah.
But I think The Shining is probably my favorite King adaptation. Although Shawshank would be up there, and I actually really liked the new. Well, I liked It Part 1.
Yeah.
The new one. I really, really liked It Part 1. I thought it was a solid horror movie.
Yeah.
I thought the second one was not as good. It was it lost a little bit of what made the first one so good.
Definitely more humor based.
It was funnier, and then the scares were all so formulaic. It was so predictable and like not scary. The first one was genuinely pretty scary. But what am I forgetting? Misery I haven't seen, and
Misery
Carrie
was
I
good.
haven't seen.
I haven't seen Carrie.
I actually haven't seen Christine either, which is funny because John Carpenter is my favorite director.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen that movie.
Misery was really good. Green Mile was very good. It's a very, very touching movie. It's very heart wrenching. There's one I'm forgetting.
Yeah, there's one we're both forgetting. I'm trying to think in chronological order of books he's written.
Yeah.
The Dark Tower sucked, I heard. I haven't read it or seen it.
No.
Man, what am I forgetting? Was there a Salem's Lot movie?
Maybe.
Probably.
Doctor Sleep was really good.
Cujo.
I
I haven't seen Cujo.
Yeah.
Doctor Sleep was really good.
And I read the book for that one as well. And
I heard the movie did a good job of blending because the Shining book and movie were so different,
Yes.
and Doctor Sleep tried to split the difference and act as a sequel to both the book and the movie.
yes, everything was. I was a really good adaptation. Almost everything was near identical, up until you got to the parts where there were differences between The Shining's continuity,
Right.
and it did a very good job of cutting the difference.
Huh.
Yeah, I love both. I love both of those books and movies. I think they were both very good.
You've certainly read a lot more King than I have.
The King.
You are the King.
There's one I can't remember what I'm trying to think of. Obviously, the Shawshank movie
Yeah?
is better than the book. It's better than the short
Really?
story. Yeah. I think the movie, Frank Darabont did a very good job of adding suspense when needed.
Yeah?
There were some times when things would happen in the movie that didn't happen in the book, and it should have happened in the book. Like when Tommy, what's his face, the guy that heard about Andy Dufresne's actual murderer,
Yeah.
and then the warden kills him because he's like, we can't have that kind of floating around here. Andy's too good of a worker here. I like having him under my payroll. That didn't happen in the book. He didn't kill him. He informed Andy, and then he just got out of prison, I think. If I'm not wrong. Yeah, and that was it.
Well, that's anticlimactic.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of dumb.
So, is the one you're forgetting... I have those books pulled up here, so there's The Stand. But then the one you're forgetting might be The Dead Zone. Are you thinking of The Dead Zone or The Gunslinger? Okay, I don't know. Or The Institute. Tell you what, a Stephen King adaptation that I didn't like was 1922. The Netflix original movie.
I didn't either.
We watched that together, and it was boring, and the twist was dumb.
Um,
It wasn't even really a twist. Wasn't it just his wife was dead the whole time and he killed her?
Something like that.
I just remember
it got real weird.
It was weird and kind of boring. Didn't like 1922.
In the Tall Grass wasn't very good either. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't impressive, really.
Huh. Who wrote Gerald's Game?
That was also him.
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't like that movie very much either.
It was all right.
And it was directed by a guy I really like. It was directed by, Mike.
Wazowski.
No,
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it was directed by the same guy who did The Haunting at Hill House and Doctor Sleep and
I know who you're talking about.
and Hush, and he's an Oculus. What's his name? Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, I really like Mike Flanagan, but I did not like that movie very much. I think the concept for me wasn't there.
I am currently reading Doomakey. I know your dad has raved about that book for years.
Oh, you're reading it? How is it so far?
It's pretty good. I'm only a couple chapters in, but I really
Okay.
enjoy it. It's setting up some very interesting things. He is so good at what he does that they now have a universe for it. I'm talking about Castle Rock on Hulu.
Castle Rock is a good show, but I only watched the first season.
Yeah. And I really
But it
liked
was
it
really good.
up until the last 10 seconds.
Yes, I agree.
And it got dumb. And then it didn't follow up on it in season 2.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where to go from here. I don't know if I should keep watching it or not. So
If you've seen Castle Rock, call 918-268-6337 and tell us if it's worth watching.
yes, and tell us what you thought about the ending, because I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I helped somebody clean out a house for a woman who had passed away a while ago, and part of the deal was, well, if there was something that wasn't going to be kept, that we could keep it. And along with the stuff that I got to keep was a giant box of Stephen King books. So even though I've read like 4 or 5,
Yeah.
I have like 28.
Oh.
So I got some reading to do.
That you do, my friend.
That I do. Doobie doo.
I feel like I don't have much more to say on Stephen King because I've only read one book.
Yeah, but I mean his adaptations are everywhere.
I'm just trying to think of ones I haven't mentioned yet. Stand By Me is the one of the best coming of age movies ever.
I agree.
If Almost Famous didn't exist, it would be the best.
It's still my favorite.
Yeah, well, you can shut up. What are you looking up?
I'm looking at his bibliography.
Bookography?
Bookography.
Looking at his rightography.
His readography.
All right, Joe, on a scale of 1 being your favorite thing on Earth and 100 being your least favorite thing on Earth, where's Stephen King as a person?
As a person, if Twitter didn't exist, probably like 8.
Yeah, but the fact that Twitter does exist bumps him down to 73.
Yeah, that's probably where I put him too.
Yeah. What about just as an author?
As an author, I think this falls into, I would say, he's probably the greatest. I'm not going to say the best, but the greatest horror writer.
Yes, I agree.
I think he's the Spielberg of horror books.
He is definitely.
But I would say that probably Lovecraft is the best. I think he helped form what is now known as modern horror.
I bet that, you know how whenever, I can't say his name now. He's dead to me. Whenever that one internet celebrity reviewed Far Cry 3 and he said it was like Skyrim with guns.
Yeah.
And they put his quote on the box.
Yeah.
Every Stephen King book from now on is going to have a quote from you that says the Spielberg of horror books.
I really hope so.
That would be awesome.
I would feel fulfilled in my life.
If you went to Barnes and Noble and pulled Carrie off the shelf and it was a dumb reprint with a terrible cover with a fake sticker you couldn't take off and it said Joseph Farmer says that Stephen King is the Steven Spielberg of horror novels.
Do you think King would take offense to that?
I don't think he would know who you are.
That's fair.
Bye.